Welcome filmmakers, fans, and friends to Indie Cinema Showcase, your #1 source for filmmaking, conventions, and everything in between. I'm Christina Carmona.
And I'm Nando. Together we'll be bringing you the best and brightest that Florida has to offer with a focus on Central Florida.
In today's episode, we'll be speaking with John Lux, Executive Director for Film Florida, a not-for-profit entertainment production trade association run by volunteer members that represent all sectors of Florida's film, TV, and digital media industry.
We will also revisit some of our past events and then travel to Enzion Theater to hang out with Tim Anderson as he lets us know what films we should see before we die.
All right, let's get things started with our Shorts to Shorts film, a spoof of TV trailers created by & U Films called Mashup Madness.
Farty Place. Rated PG-14.
Hey, are you tired of ordinary restaurant arcade experiences where nothing interesting ever happens?
No, not really.
Of course you damn well are. Hi, I'm Chucky the Killer Doll, and I'm taking homicidal mania to the next level with my new chain of arcade/pizzerias, Chucky's Cheese. Sound familiar? It's not. Unlike other similar establishments where the games don't come to life and try to kill you, here that's exactly what happens. As a deadly plaything myself, I love deadly playthings. And you will too. I've got skee-ball. Air hockey. That basketball one. And that's not all. I've got more video games than you can shake a knife at. Even the go-karts got minds of their own. Ha! That guy broke his jaw. And if you think I stopped at just the games, I didn't. The animatronics are alive. The chairs are alive. Even the frickin' pizza's alive. Nah, I'm just playing. But the salad sure is. And at the end of the day, your kids can turn in tickets for all kinds of fabulous prizes. Get it? They're weapons. They're all weapons. We're putting the slash in arcade/pizzerias. Chucky's Cheese, where if the restaurant doesn't get you, I will. Hey, hold still, lady.
got a kick, Thor. You go ahead and brag, cause tag, I am done for. Now, I'm gonna let you finish, bro, but wait, my friends disagree. Me power, space, mind, soul, time, and reality. Boom, I know what you're thinking, Thor. Why ain't I dead? Well, hindsight's a think you should have gone for the head. I'm a philosopher, some call me a prophet. I offer solutions, I'm burdened with knowledge. You go to bed hungry, scrounging for scraps. Your planet decayed on the brink of collapse. The plan is to vanish half all domains, but damn, you look confused, so let me spell out the name. I am the T-H-A-N-O-S, Thanos, Warlord, your lord, meant to balance every inch of life in the galaxy. Y'all spend infinite resources endlessly. Enter me. No need for parentheses. I've got the will to act dispassionately. I will wipe out half a life if it sets us free. Essentially, I seek my destiny. And I am not throwing away my snap. No, I am not throwing away my snap. Hey, yo, you call it playing dirty, but trust me, it's a mercy. And I'm not throwing away my snap. I am not throwing away my snap. No, I am not throwing away my snap. And yo, when life's left unchecked, just watch it gets wrecked. And I am not throwing away my snap. I know what it's like to lose. It's frightening to think the purpose of bleeding and fighting is what's bright and what's right. Yet nonetheless, you must confess that you failed. You're through. Stark, I hope the remnant of humanity remembers you. Now I'm past patiently waiting like Hulk, smashing every expectation. Desperation's an active creation. No time to mourn, no matter how much the sting the day extracts. It's all what it costs. Everything, and I am not throwing away my snap. No, I am not throwing away my snap. And like the words above, feeling you blowing in the wind, and I am not throwing away my snap. We're gonna assemble. It's time to take a snap. Avengers assemble. It's time to take a snap. And yo, it's time to take a snap. Time to take a snap. And I am not throwing away my, not throwing away my snap.
Hey, Thanos! You left the oven on!
Ah, shoot. No.
If you're a filmmaker in Florida or an industry professional, you've seen the Film Florida logo around town. Film Florida values leadership, collaboration, diversity, courage, and informed action, and has a mission to provide a true focal point for Florida's entertainment production industry, enabling the implementation of powerful economic policies, effective worldwide marketing, and positive economic impact, and a professional standards of excellence. For this industry's insight, we're speaking with Executive Director of Film Florida, John Lux.
Hey guys, we are in studio with John Lux, Executive Director of Film Florida. John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, how'd you get started in this industry?
Wow. A long time ago. I actually went to college. I went to Purdue University because I was originally from the Chicago area. And the original plan was to be a writer for Sports Illustrated. I wanted to be a sports reporter. Mm-hmm. And about a year into college, I realized that that probably wasn't the best path for me. And I knew I couldn't really spend more than 4 years in college. So I literally pulled out the catalog at that time, the hard copy, and flipped through the liberal arts catalog and said, what kind of looks good? And got into video production. And it wasn't really until my senior year that I realized, honestly, I didn't like production, but I loved post-production. I loved putting the puzzle together. And so that was kind of the beginning of the career. It was kind of a roundabout way to being an assistant editor, which was my first job when I first graduated.
Right, and we love the post-production.
Yeah, that's what
I mean, for some people, it's like in front of the camera, and some people just shine really behind. I think for me, I'm just one of those like
piecing everything together.
Yep.
So, anybody in the local area, if you're an independent filmmaker, or if you're a movie fanatic, you see the Film Florida logo all over the place. Yeah. Can you explain a little bit of what Film Florida actually is, so
Absolutely.
People understand that?
Sure. So Film Florida is a statewide not-for-profit. We're a volunteer-based organization, as I mentioned. We are funded entirely by our members. And our main goal from the very beginning, when the organization was started at the end of the 1990s, is really marketing. It's about marketing the state of Florida. It's about marketing our industry. It's about helping people understand essentially why they should care about our industry here in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. We do a fair amount of networking, professional development. In the last decade or so, we've gotten a lot more into the advocating side from the legislative standpoint. Mm-hmm. But the core of the organization is bringing people together that work in the industry in all sectors, all facets, and basically helping them work smarter, not harder. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel every time you have a question, every time you need something. It's better to have a group of like-minded individuals together that you can just say, hey, does anybody know a good writer? Does anybody know a good DP? Does anybody know a good makeup artist? I'm from South Florida. I'm going up to Jacksonville. Does anybody know anybody up there? And we can connect all the people, whether it be through film commissioners, whether it be industry professionals. We have a lot of colleges and students that are part of the organization as well. So we really run the gamut of everybody that touches the industry being part of the organization. And through our different committees and councils, we're all working on different initiatives to ultimately help grow and strengthen the industry overall.
Right. I mean, and this sounds obviously great, right? But you guys also do have memberships. What is the biggest thing that someone can get from a membership?
What I tell people, if they can give 2 to 4 hours a month to the organization through emails or attending meetings virtually or even in person, they're going to get a lot out of their membership, whether that be new connections, whether that be new opportunities, whether it be just more knowledge to help them grow their career. I have never, in the 6+ years I've been in this role, I've never had a member say to me, this is a waste of time. I'm not getting anything out of my membership, as long as they put in those 2 to 4 hours a month. Now, I've had plenty of people that join. A year later, I send them their renewal and they're saying, I really didn't get anything out of my membership. And I think to myself, I've never seen you on a meeting. I've never gotten an email from you asking any questions. You've never participated in anything. Well, of course you're not getting anything out of your. Now, we're realistic. I mean, we're not sitting here saying, well, you got to put 10 hours a week into it. Like, nobody can do that. That's why they hired me, so, to be full time. But 2 to 4 hours a month is all we really ask for. And if we put all of that 2 to 4 hours together, it makes for a really good, engaging organization. And our membership has more than doubled in the last few years. Even through the pandemic, our membership continued to grow. So we think it's a pretty good testament to people saying that it is worth the value that they put into it.
One of the biggest hot topics in Florida has been the incentive programs for the film industry. Can you shed a little light on that?
Sure. So Film Florida got engaged in the legislative side of things back around 2009, 2010. Since then, it's been a continual process. So right now where we stand, unfortunately, is Florida is the only state in the Southeast that does not have an incentive program. We're one of only 15 states in the country that don't have one. The challenging part and the frustrating part is everybody thinks, well, the state legislature doesn't support our industry. The truth is, by and large, we have tremendous support in Tallahassee. It's both encouraging, but also very frustrating because we know we have really good support. We just don't have support in the right places. Right. And so the Florida legislature, especially in the Florida House, is very top-down driven. So think of it as a family. If mom or dad says, no, we're not going to do anything, the kids can fight, kick, scream all they want. Right. The parents still kind of run the house. And that is how the Florida House is, in that if you don't have support from the Speaker of the House and the leadership within the Speaker in the House, then you just really don't go anywhere. And that's been the challenge the last couple of years. We have tremendous bipartisan support. A lot of the people come out and say, like, well, it's the Republicans' fault or it's the Democrats' fault. It's nobody's fault in that case because we have tremendous bipartisan support. Our biggest champions in both the House and the Senate are Republicans, which surprises a lot of people. And we just, each year, the last few years, we kind of run into a brick wall in the committee structure where we run into a committee where the committee chair just refuses to hear the bill. And so, last session was a good example in that we were heading to a committee in the Senate where every single member of the committee was a co-sponsor except for the chair, and the chair didn't want to hear the bill. Right. So we died in committee, literally sitting there when we know we would have gotten the votes. We have the votes. We know we have the votes. We just have not been able to get on committees. And so, I get contacted all the time. People say, what can I do? What can I do? It's challenging because if you're a resident of Central Florida and a committee chair from, North Florida happens to be the one stonewalling us, getting 1,000 emails and phone calls from residents of Central Florida isn't going to change that legislator's mind. They just frankly aren't that interested in what Central Florida wants and what South Florida wants. They want to know what their constituents want. And so it's trying to find, again, going back to the membership side, trying to find representation for our organization statewide. I mean, we literally have members from Pensacola to Key West right now. But if we don't have 25, 30, 50 members in a specific area where a committee member needs to hear from them, it's difficult. Yeah.
Right.
And so what I'm constantly telling people is email me. Send me your email address. You can find our email on the website. Send me your home address. I don't share it with anybody, but I look up who are your legislators. And I can tell you almost every one of them, this one supports. Please contact them and thank them and encourage them to continue. Or this one doesn't support. Please reach out, tell them a personal story as to why they should support it. Or sometimes I have to say, I'm really not sure because they just won't respond to emails, phone calls, whatever. And so we use our members to gather that information. And I always tell people it's a gigantic jigsaw puzzle. Every conversation that someone has with a legislator is a piece of that puzzle. And we're trying to put the whole puzzle together. And when we put the whole puzzle together, we'll get a bill passed, we'll get a new incentive program here in the state. Until we're able to fill in that entire puzzle, it's a challenge.
Exactly. And I mean, if you don't want it bad enough, then how are they going to feel like you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's exactly true.
We're living proof of that. It's like, we started off with zero knowledge of the film industry. Is like, and if we were to sit down and just wait for us to like offer opportunities, sometimes it doesn't come. You have to get out there and do it yourself.
You have to create those opportunities as well.
And I've had legislators that I've met with. I literally have hundreds of meetings every year with legislators. And I've literally had them say to me, look, John, I understand what you're saying, but you literally are the only person that ever comes to talk to me about the film industry. So like, why should I, you're the only one. Right. And I have to sit there and just say, I'm speaking on behalf, but it's not the same.
It's not.
The same. And I always tell people, I can give them the high level. I can tell them what other states are doing. I can tell them how much business we've lost. I can tell them how many jobs that translates into. But I can't tell them the personal story of their constituent who has to leave their family for 3 months at a time to go up to Atlanta to work a gig so they can pay their bills back home. Right. And their little kid is going to school wondering, when's mommy or daddy coming home? Right. It's not this weekend, it's not next weekend. I can't tell those stories, okay? Right. I can't tell the story about how someone had to sell their house and move back in with their folks when they're 30-something years old because the job that they've worked in for 20 years now all of a sudden doesn't pay them any money because they don't have enough jobs. I can't tell them the story about the two neighbors of theirs that work in the industry that moved to Atlanta because there's more work up there than there is down here. I can't tell them the personal stories. And those are the ones that, in all honesty,
those are the ones they need to hear.
Those are the ones they need to hear. Those are the personal stories that mean anything. At a certain point, I become Charlie Brown's teacher. That you just hear in that's exactly what it is. I can keep telling the facts and the figures, but the personal stories hit home, and that's what we need the industry to support us. So if they just email me, I do all the legwork for them. I basically say, here's who you need to contact, here's how you contact them, here's where they stand on the issues. And I basically give them the cheat sheet. We just need them to execute from there.
Right. And that's fantastic. I mean, in anything that you want to do, right, you have to put your own time and your money into it. And I think that for an individual membership, student price is crazy awesome. But I feel like that's well worth everything that you can spend on it. And if you're a filmmaker, this is a great way to get to know the things that are going on in your city.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I mean, I know when we first started off, we really didn't know anything about the filming community at all, especially here in Central Florida. We had to basically knock down doors and try and figure out who is who and stuff like that. It's so one of the main purpose of Indie Cinema Showcase is that we want to showcase everything that Central Florida has to offer for filmmakers so they know, hey, Film Florida is here.
Yep.
Go check them out. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we want this film community to grow because we see what's happening in other states when it comes to like the film industry and stuff like that. And we want to bring that back here to Central Florida. So
Yep.
I think what Film Florida is doing is amazing, and you guys definitely need to go and check that out. If they want to join Film Florida or find out more information, where can they go to that?
So they can go to filmflorida.org. That's our website, remember, .org. And then right up at the top right, there's a little tab that says join, and you can click on that button. It shows all the different membership levels from the high-end corporate ones all the way down to the student membership, and you can join right there on the website. It's pretty easy.
Wonderful. Well, that was a plethora of great information. So guys, make sure that you check them out and maybe, you know, get
Yep.
a membership.
Join. I think we should just join.
Yeah.
Because we told you to. You're going to do it because we told you to.
Right. Thank you so much, John. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
If you would like to be a guest, have something to promote, or have your film featured on the show, email us at icstv@yahoo.com. Also, visit us at our website, indiecinemashowcase.com.
Watch past episodes on YouTube, Rumble, Roku, and Apple Plus by searching for Indie Cinema Showcase. And finally, follow us on our socials, Facebook at ICSTV and on Instagram and Twitter at ICSTV Show.
Welcome back. Now it's time for a segment we like to call On Location with ICS. In this episode, we revisit Monkey Chow Animation and speak with Jeff Scheetz about his animation and mocap studio.
Hey guys, I'm here with Jeff Scheetz, co-owner of Monkey Chow's Animation Studios. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us here in your home. We're very excited to play around with these mocap suits. So tell us a little bit about Monkey Chow Animation Studios.
Monkey Chow is a production company. We do computer animation for theme park developers, game companies, pretty much anybody that needs any kind of animation. The things we do are pretty much who comes knocking on our door.
So the difference between your standard like digital animation and motion cap, can you talk a little bit about that for the folks at home?
Sure. It's hard to say. When people think traditional animation, they think about drawing.
Right, drawing, yeah.
But with traditional computer animation, basically you're setting a pose, saying, okay, on frame 10, I'm going to be here. On frame 20, I'm going to be here. And the computer's very good at going 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And basically key framing is what they call it,
Right.
where you say, key frame.
Right.
But with motion capture, it's very different because it is very reliant upon the performer and what they're doing. And so like the thing about motion capture is you really have to be vested in your performer who's going to come in, and usually they don't have any animation background, but they usually are good at acting, or they're good at dance, or they're good at sport, or whatever they're being called upon to do. They don't really need to understand anything about how the technology works. If they're willing to suit up as you have, if they're willing to suit up, then it's like, okay, then they can just do their thing and we can capture that. And so it's really popular. Motion capture is really popular in video games because I guess to answer your question before, the big difference is the motion capture is done in real time. So as you move, it's immediately recorded. That being said, once you have that data, you can plus that. You can do extra animation on top of that. So like, if some superhero, jumps up in the air 7 inches, you can make that 7 feet, and really add to it and build on the excitement of it.
Here at the studio, what kind of things do you guys offer? Is this something that's open to the public where somebody can come in and like work with you guys, or is it just your own productions?
Well, to some degree, when you say open to the public, it's more of a kind of a business-to-business sort of thing. We work with other companies that have that might have an animation studio, but they don't have a motion capture stage, and so they will come here and shoot what they need, take it back, and work with it. Most of our work has been. It's very new too. We've only had the stage for about 5 months.
Okay.
And so, so it's a split between doing the service bureau work for people who need this kind of work done, come in and get it, versus someone hires us to do a production. We choose to do it through motion capture, and that's not to say we don't have people on staff that are excellent with hand key animation. They are. It just depends on what the thing we're doing. What it's needed for.
Right. And I'm sure, obviously saving time on one versus the other is going to play a factor when it comes to like deciding how you're going to go about
Well,
doing
it kind of does in the case of, we just did a series of faith-based shorts where it was a good budget, but it wasn't as high enough as you would need to pay the kind of people that could create the kind of performance for the amount of time it would take them to do that. And so that's a case where motion capture sort of made that project at that budget possible because we laid out all the groundwork through motion capture. And but then again, they had the opportunity to go in and make things even sweeter, which typically always happens. It's pretty rare that you would shoot motion capture and go, boom, there it is, we're done.
Right.
So
if people want to find out a little bit more information about Monkey Chow or Motion Capture Orlando, where can they go to?
we have websites, motioncaptureorlando.com and monkeychowproductions.com are our two websites, and they're sort of cross-linked back and forth.
Awesome. For our final segment, we travel to the beautiful Enzion Theater where former ICS host Tim Anderson lets us know which films we should see before we die. Take it away, Tim.
Thanks, guys. So my name is Tim Anderson, and I am programming coordinator here at Enzion Theater and the Florida Film Festival. And these are some films that I think, as filmmakers, you need to see before you die. So the first ones I want to talk to you about today, and this season alone, I kind of want to talk about films that have technique in them. But the kind of first one I want to hit into is the 1926 film The General, which is directed by Buster Keaton and Clyde Bruckman. This movie is really interesting. First of all, I think that a lot of people that are going out there today are not watching silent films, and it's important to see where everything kind of began in Hollywood. This to me is sort of the pinnacle action movie chase film of its era. It's a film that's so successful that it doesn't even need the title cards, and that's really where we go back to it. There was this statement that Alfred Hitchcock made that you should be able to follow the plot of a movie without anybody ever giving you any dialogue whatsoever, and if you can do that, then you're a successful filmmaker. This movie, which is about a Confederate soldier, so there's a little bit of a kind of a trigger there as well, but he is battling against the Union Army by trying to steal back his train, which has been taken away from him. It includes one of the great train sequences and chase sequences that's ever been committed to film, and including the climax where they crash a real full-size steam locomotive, something that is not done anymore because everything is made with CGI for the most part. So what I wanted you to see this film and enjoy it, and also show it to your kids if you've got them before they're too old to tell you they don't like black and white movies. Because once again, you don't really need the title cards to explain what's going on. You just need to give yourself over to essentially 76 minutes of a gigantic chase sequence. But the film is a perfect example of showing and not telling. You don't need to know what's going on. You don't need to know any of the storylines in this to sort of follow the adventures of Johnny Gray, the Buster Keaton character, as he sort of attempts to get his train back in broad slapstick performance. The film's also incredible as an early version of looking at stunt photography and stunt work in the film, as Keaton performs all of his own stunts, a hallmark that you hear later about people like Jackie Chan, who they often call like the Hong Kong version of Buster Keaton. So if you like action movies, if you like chase films, just basically this is a 76-minute chase movie. I think it's absolutely fantastic, but I think from a technique standpoint, as filmmakers going forward, it's really important to kind of understand the staging that occurs in that. I see a lot of short films that have a lot of action sequences in them that are not thinking about what those master shots originally look like and where those cutaways and where those inserts are going to be. So take a look at this one, learn essentially from the guy who created the action film, and hopefully you'll have a great time with the movie, and we'll see you at the next one. Back to you, Christina and Nando.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of ICS. We want to thank John Lux for sitting down with us, Jeff Scheetz from Monkey Chow and You Films for their short trailer spoofs, and Tim Anderson for those great movie suggestions.
We hope you learned something new, saw something that you love, or got inspired to get off your couch and go make a movie of your own. Who knows? It might be good enough for us to screen on the next Indie Cinema Showcase.
Don't forget to follow us on our socials, Facebook at ICS TV, Instagram at ICS TV Show, and on YouTube, Rumble, Roku, and Apple Plus by looking up Indie Cinema Showcase.
And if you want a chance to have your work, event, convention, or film festival featured on ICS, send us an email at icstv@yahoo.com.
Until then, the set is closed, and as they say in the movie business, that's a wrap.
See you next time.